Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. We're here right now with Rob Barrett from Cannibal Corpse. Right, you're playing rhythm guitar right now? Is that...
Both. I mean, I play mostly rhythm, but I do play some leads too.
Okay. So I guess tell me a little bit about the inspiration and the recording process for you guys' new album, Violence Unimagined.
Wow, what do you want to know?
I guess let's start with the recording process. When did you guys start? Were you affected by the pandemic? I guess just
well,
about that.
Yeah, we started writing for the record like pretty much December 19.
Mm.
And then, we started recording in April and recorded for 2 months. And, the whole COVID thing started like basically around March, I guess, where they started shutting everything down. So the only way that it really affected us was that Alex wasn't able to be there in the studio with us when we recorded. So he just did his bass tracks at home at his home studio and then just sent all the files to Eric and then just put all of his tracks into the mix. So, other than that, I think that's the only real major thing that affected the whole process was that he wasn't present.
He wasn't able to meet. Do you guys pretty much record in like a home studio, or does the label pay for do you guys do it in a professional studio? How does that work?
Well, yeah, we record at Eric Rutan's studio, Mana Recording in St. Pete. And he produced 4 records before he ended up, being in the band recently as a permanent member. So, yeah, we've been going to Eric's for a while now.
When did he start playing with you guys full time?
Well, he started filling in on all the tours pretty much right after that whole incident happened. Since 2019, he was touring with us, and then at first it was just a temporary fill-in thing. He was just helping us with all of the tours that we had booked. But then, after some things came about after that, I think it was February of last year was when we finally decided to just have him step aboard as a permanent member. So yeah, he's been in the band for I'd say longer than a year. We just never actually officially announced it.
Were you guys big fans, or were you guys fans at all of his previous projects, Morbid Angel and Hate Eternal?
Oh, yeah, of course, and Ripping Corpse, too. You can't forget about them. That's the band he was in when we all first met him. We've all known him pretty much since about around 1989. So we've all been longtime friends with Eric, and we've toured with him, done shows with him over the years, and now we're doing records with him in the band with us as well. So, yeah, the Hate Eternal, the Ripping Corpse, the Morbid Angel, the last project that he had. Yeah, we're definitely fans of everything that he's done, pretty much.
You guys have been working together. Well, kind of been in the peripheral or close for a long time, despite not being in the same band or not working directly.
Yeah, we've been longtime friends. We've known each other a very long time, and everybody in the band as well. So it was just a good fit right from the beginning. I mean, even before he was in the band, I was always saying when we were working with him in the studio that it felt like he was the 6th member of the band to me. And now he's in the band, so it just only makes sense. We work well together, and it's just always a positive vibe around him.
The natural fit.
Yeah.
Obviously you guys are, there's a lot of controversy, around the band because of the nature of what you guys do. I was recently reading about a tour you guys did in Russia, and, not a lot of bands get that opportunity. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, I didn't get all the details, but I know that you guys weren't able to completely finish it.
Yeah, wow, that was a while back now.
Yeah, 2014, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing that it was at least 6 years ago at this point, yeah. So, yeah, it was like a strange situation. We got this offer to do a bunch of dates there in Russia, and there are some certain, and I'm not exactly sure what his name is, but some religious guy, he didn't want us to come there, he was making it public that he didn't want us to come to play any shows there, and we knew that it was going to be a problem, and we were even telling this guy that we wanted to book these shows for us there, hey, there's going to be a problem with this guy, and booking agent or promoter that wanted to bring us there just kept saying, oh, don't worry about him, it's not going to be a problem. And we did like the first 4 shows, I believe. I think we were supposed to do like 8 or 10 shows. I'm not sure exactly how many it was, but I'm pretty sure it was like the first 4 shows we did, and there was no problems at all. Everything was fine. And then I think around the 5th show, we started having problems. Like, we went to play this one show. I can't even remember the name of the town or the city, but somebody was saying that it was like this guy that didn't want us to come there, his hometown, or he lived near there or something. And we went to do sound check, and then everything was okay, but then we noticed after we did sound check that a couple of, it looked like a couple of police officers came in to the venue, and they were just snooping around, looking around, and we ended up going back to the hotel, and then before we got a ride back to the venue, our tour manager called the hotel and said, hey, don't even bother coming back to the venue because the show got shut down. The police that came in there, they ended up getting the power turned off in the venue, claiming that the venue didn't pay the electric bill or something. Like, it was just some shady stuff going on. And apparently one of the local, like the mayor of the town or something, had the show shut down. And then after that, every show after that, it turned into a problem. Like right before we were supposed to go on stage, then, promoter comes into the backstage and he's like, oh, well, you're not allowed to start playing, otherwise you're going to get arrested. So, and then there was this one show, I think it was maybe the 5th or 6th show. We got to play about half of the set, and then all of a sudden there was a bunch of soldiers, like right in the pit area, like in the middle of the floor, with guns and stuff, like military, total, like ready to get nasty. And they shut down that show. They brought dogs into the venue, like sniffing for drugs, and yeah, like we were getting hassled because this guy, this religious guy, whoever he was, he didn't like Cannibal Corpse, so he just kept making it hard for us to play. And it was horrible because especially the Moscow show was like, probably the biggest show out of all of them. And it was like a really big venue, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes before we're supposed to play, it's a packed crowd, everybody's in there, and then here comes the promoter. He says, oh, well, they say that you're not allowed to play, otherwise you're going to get arrested. And then, there's military police outside beating up fans because, they're getting angry about us not being able to play. So it was almost like they were thinking about trying to start a riot, but then they were all getting arrested and beat up. And I remember that show, we ended up deciding to just hang out right in front of the stage and just sign everybody's stuff and take pictures with them. And it took like 4 hours to like do that with everybody just because there was so many people there. Like, it took longer than actually playing the show to do like a meet and greet with the whole crowd because there was just hundreds of fans there. So
that's really cool you guys to do that though.
Yeah, I mean, we had to do something because, I mean, if we can't play for them, we should at least try to hang out with them for a little bit, even if it's only like, for 10 seconds or whatever, sign something, take a picture, and then keep the line moving. So, yeah, it took a long time, but it was just something that we felt like we should do, at least for the fans. The overall experience was, it was not good for us, but I mean, we knew that something fishy was going on before we even flew over there. Like, we knew this guy was gunning for us, and the promoter was just like pretty much guaranteeing that nothing bad was going to happen, and it did. And we ended up just, pretty much saying like, wow, well, we should have saw this coming. And so we're banned from Russia, as far as I know.
So have you guys had any similar experiences to that in the States or other countries in recent years?
No, it was never to that extent. I mean, there's been some issues in Germany where we can't play certain songs, and back in the 90s, there were a handful of shows where we weren't allowed to play when we were on tour with Morbid Angel. Like, it was only a few shows, but it was not to the level that this guy took it in Russia.
Are there any bands or tours that you guys specifically really like going out on the road with?
Oh man, well, that's hard to narrow down one or two because, I mean, we've toured with so many bands at this point, probably over 100, I'd say, easily. Maybe even more than 200. But, yeah, it's, wow, just off of the top of my head, wow. The Obituary tour that we did with those guys was really fun. That was probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. It was Obituary and Power Trip and us. And that was just really cool because we hadn't toured with Obituary since 92, which is kind of strange because you figure, we would have ended up touring more than just once with a band like that we've been friends with forever. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say Obituary off of the top of my head.
That's good. That's a good one. So what, like, I guess I like to ask bands this, and you don't have to answer in detail because sometimes I guess it's difficult. But like, what are you listening to right now? Are there any bands or anything that you would call out that's really like inspiring you at the moment?
Well, it's my usual answer: Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Slayer. I always go back to the classic stuff when I want to listen to something. I don't really listen to a lot of new stuff. Okay, that's fair. So you're obviously one of the longest running members of the band. There was a period for a while where you weren't in Cannibal Corpse.
did you play with any other bands during that period, or what did you do when you weren't playing with them?
Well, I'll rewind to before I was in Cannibal Corpse. I was in a band called Solstice from Miami in the early 90s, like 90, 91. And then I joined Malevolent Creation to record their second record, Retribution, with them in 92.
Okay.
And we did a tour with Cannibal Corpse and Obituary and Agnostic Front in 92. So we were sharing a bus with Cannibal Corpse while I was in Malevolent. And then they ended up calling me to join Cannibal in 93. And then I was with them until 97. Then I rejoined Malevolent for 8 years. So I was doing Malevolent again and a grind band called Hate Plow. I did 2 records with that band during that time.
I've heard of that.
I rejoined Cannibal in 2015, and here we are in 2021.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing to me to see a band like you guys just still out there doing it. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I feel like we're really lucky that we have such a strong fan base for us to be able to do this long.
Yeah, there's just like a lot of the great metal bands, to my surprise, are still putting out great music and still touring behind it. Carcass just put something out new last year, and there's all these just still a lot of great heavy music coming out. So it's great that there's also the support for it. There's the support. People go out and see the shows. Do you guys have any touring plans post-pandemic? I mean, I guess it's probably hard to say right now, but do you guys have anything coming up that's in the works that you might be able to talk about?
No, well, I'd love to say that we're going to start touring as soon as we possibly can. The whole, part of that answer is yet to be known to us, though, because we're not able to get any tours booked as of yet.
Yeah.
So we just have to sit at home and wait until everything opens up again. We're not sure when that is. I mean, we're looking at hopefully being able to start touring again by January 22, hopefully.
So you're based in Tampa Bay. Are you a Buccaneers fan? Are you stoked about the Super Bowl?
I'm a Bills fan because I'm originally from Buffalo, like Alex and Paul. Us three are from Buffalo. That's where the band started. So yeah, I'm still a Bills fan, and the Chiefs beat them, so I was rooting for the Buccaneers because of that.
I got you.
So I'm glad that the Bucs won. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a Buccaneer, like I don't root for the Buccaneers over the Bills at all, but I don't have any hate for them or anything. I'm glad they won.
Gotcha.
The Chiefs are now like the rival of the Bills, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, I have a lot of friends who are big Chiefs fan. That was a bad day for them.
Yeah, I was thoroughly enjoying that.
Yeah, it's like retribution after they beat your team.
Well, yeah, because it's usually the other way around. It's usually, the Chiefs beating the crap out of whoever they're playing, and they got some of their own medicine, I think.
Yeah, definitely. How involved are you in the writing process? Like, do you come up with, when you guys are putting together an album, do you bring your own riffs to the table? Do you have to bring song ideas to the table? Or is it just kind of like an ad hoc thing where you kind of come in and add your parts once it's ready? How does that work? How does that process work for you guys?
Well, yeah, like the three of us, Alex and Eric and myself, we all write our own songs on our own individually. Like, we don't necessarily write songs together, like, get in the room and start putting riffs together. We used to, back in the earlier years, we would actually, like, all throw riffs into the same song, but nowadays we're just writing songs individually. I wrote 4 songs music, and Eric wrote 3 songs music. Alex wrote 4 songs music. Then I wrote 3 songs lyrics. Eric wrote 3 songs lyrics. Alex wrote 3 songs lyrics, and then Paul wrote 2 songs lyrics. So we have everybody like contributing individually on all the music and lyrical front.
Oh wow, that's interesting to know. I would have figured that George writes all the lyrics.
No, actually, he's fine with us writing all the lyrics. So yeah, I mean, it's not something where, we don't want him to write lyrics or anything. If he wanted to write lyrics, that would be fine with us. But, he's okay with what we come up with. So the other 4 of us write all the lyrics.
So I recently read, I think it was a quote from him talking about the nature of you guys' music and how basically the songs are almost like short stories, almost like miniature horror movies. Are there any standout, obviously the ones you wrote, but on the new album, are there any standout tracks that you could call out, or anything that you think is like really, one of the top like songs on the new record?
Well, I mean, at least for now, I would say, the single that we released last week in Humane Harvest, that would be one of the standout tracks. I know that's why we all decided to have that one as the first single. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that would be the standout track for now.
I gotcha. And do you guys ever, like, I mean, obviously Cannibal's music fits a specific theme. Do you guys ever find it hard to find new inspirations or like new ways to come up with these violent kind of horror type themes?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is if you end up coming up with an idea and then you start looking back at old Cannibal songs and think, oh, well, we already talked about that kind of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you definitely need to do some digging around to figure out how to make it as unique as possible compared to everything else that's been written. Because, I mean, we must be up to like 200 songs by now.
Yeah,
I never really counted all the songs, but it has to be up there somewhere by now.
This is what, your 15th album? Is that right?
Yeah. 15, and then, there was an EP as well, and then, I mean, on average, there's 10 songs per album, so do the math, it's gotta be up somewhere around 200 at this point.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then imagine how crazy it is for us to figure out how we're going to do a 20-song set with that many songs. Like, have all these people like saying, hey, when are you ever going to play this song or that song? And it's just like, wow, like we have a lot of songs to choose from.
Do you guys have any like set favorites or fan favorites that are pretty much make most set lists, or like something that you're constantly playing, like any specific songs you're like, oh, we're pretty much always playing these couple? Or
well, yeah, obviously. I mean, if you ever see us play, we're doing. I mean, I'd just say at least 8 to 10 of the songs that we play every night are always in there, just because those are fan favorites that. They're like the most popular songs that we kind of can't really get away with not playing. Otherwise, everybody's disappointed. Especially Hammer Smash Face and Stripped, Raped, and Strangled. Those are like the 2 top songs, I guess. So we're always playing those.
I think my favorite thing about the band, and my favorite song, probably just because of the title alone, is Sanded Faceless. But I really I really love the way that you guys just are so creative with like kind of the stuff that you come up with. Like, I mean, obviously there's I can name 100 songs that have brilliant titles and subject matter. So that's definitely
see, I'm glad that you are actually, like praising us about that, because there's so many haters out there. Like I see, people just saying, "Oh man, they're running out of ideas. That's so stale." And it's just like you gotta not pay attention to these trolls.
Yeah, everybody's. It's like I have friends that are way into like the Star Wars thing or whatever. They're always complaining about the latest comic book movie or whatever, and I'm like, make your own movie. You know, it's like.
Yeah, it's like, what do you got? Let me critique your work.
Yeah, it's really easy to sit on the sideline and go, well, they didn't do it the way that I want it. And it's like, okay, well, make your own art then.
Right, and I think, I've been seeing this attitude developing over the years, and I think it's due to social media, before we had all these, platforms for people to say all this stuff through a computer instead of like telling somebody to their face.
Yeah.
Now everybody's just like shit talking everybody instead of being positive and, complimenting people.
Well, and a lot of these kids have never been beat up, and it's like the kids that are saying stuff about you guys on the forum or whatever, they're not coming to your concerts and say it to you in person,
Yeah, like they're just going on there to start shit with the real fans, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, to me, it takes a lot of skill to keep coming up with like good ideas like that. So,
well, you know what it is, like there's some really fucked up shit going on in this world, and a lot of the stuff that we talk about, we're getting it from stuff that really happens.
Yeah.
You don't have to look too far for crazy stuff that's happening in the world,
Open the newspaper and find the most disgustingly violent thing you could find for the day. And
well, yeah, I mean, the new single that we released in Humane Harvest, I wrote that about like this whole the underground, like this black market organ trade that's going on with people getting abducted, or they just take all their organs and then dump them off somewhere, and they're making profit off of it.
Oh, wow.
And that's happening as we speak, probably in a bunch of different countries, especially China.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's interesting. I think that's one of the things I've always loved about metal too. Is it kind of cloaks itself in like the evil, dark vibes, but when you really dig deep into like a band like Slayer, right? Angel of Death is about the Holocaust. It sounds spooky and evil on the surface, but when you really dig into the meat of the intellectual meat of it, the substance of it, it's actually talking about real stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about a lot of Slayer's later lyrics. Like the earlier stuff was more like how we were doing a lot of fictional lyrics, and more in the earlier days. Well, before I was in the band, a lot of it was more fictional, like about zombies and stuff like that. But in the later years, we started going more nonfiction, talking about like real life crime and stuff like that. And that's what I always liked about Slayer too, the way that they developed their lyrics into talking about more reality stuff than fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's truth is stranger than fiction a lot of times. So. Yeah,
but don't get me wrong. I mean, a lot of our lyrics are total fiction, like
sure.
A lot of these songs are like, all right, well, when does that really happen?
Right.
But that's what makes it, there's almost like a comedic edge to it almost. I mean, we definitely take what we do serious, but sometimes we're just going for over the top gore to where it's just so twisted that like you gotta laugh about it.
And that's exactly why I love a song like Sanded Faithless. It's like, it's such a ridiculous premise. It's such a funny, and even the way that you guys put it together, the way it starts with the kind of like backmasking thing, it almost sounds like a standard and stuff. So it's brilliant, And
yeah, like we don't consider ourselves a joke band or like some sort of parody band or anything, but I mean, you can't take yourselves like so serious all the time, you know, like
Right.
some of these lyrics that Paul writes, especially, I'm like, it's just making me laugh when I read them. I'm like, wow, this is just fucking brutal as shit.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I don't want to take too much of your time. I mean, those are most of the questions that I had. The album doesn't come out. It doesn't until it comes out in April, right?
Yeah, April 16th.
Do you guys have any plans to release more singles on the build up to it, or?
Yeah, I think we're going to be dropping at least 2 more before the release. You know, this was just the first one, and then I think the second one should be coming up in a week or 2, and then I'm pretty sure there will be a third one as well, like just before the record comes out or right when the record comes out. I'm not exactly sure, but there's definitely at least another one coming before the release.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I really hope to see you guys. I'm based out in LA, so I really hope to see you guys get out here on tour soon. I haven't seen Cannibal for a few years. I saw you guys play at the Whiskey. God, it's been probably 10 years ago now. But
wow, yeah, the Whiskey. We haven't played there in over 10 years.
Yeah, maybe it was 15, 20. It's been a while, I know that. But definitely looking forward to seeing you guys play again and looking forward to the new music.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we will be able to get out there and play some shows as soon as we possibly can. We're ready.
Hopefully I'll get to talk to you guys again soon, and good luck to you with the album and potential tour and everything.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Dustin.
Take care. Have a great one.
All right, you too.